first of all, I never do this, but since we got such a good connection, and I'm actually going to be selfish, starting off with my first question.
Yeah.
And I apologize to everybody that's watching this. However, you probably might have a similar situation. So the thing is the following. When I went to college, and even before that, I used to have a nice six pack. It was one of the things that I was proud of my body. Used to love walking around with no shirt on, of course, everywhere I went. And then, I quit college, or I finished college, I should say, and went to school, or went to my first job, and how it goes from there. You go downhill with your health, with your working out and all that stuff. Then I got married, that even went worse. Then I got 2 kids, it went even worse. So definitely no more six pack at all. And I must say, and I was happy, and maybe you relate to this as well. I actually heard a guy that I met in one of the summer camps I did in America say, hey, I'm proud as well. I don't have a six pack, but I have a six keg.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't get that bad, but the worse it got, the more I started thinking about that guy, and I'm like, I do not want to be that guy. I decided, I got to take things back into my own hands, and I got to get back in shape. So I started working out, and I started putting all these routines in shape. And well, long story short, I got back my energy. I got back to my weight that I want to be at, my weight that I was at when I was in college. Right. However, after 6 months of working out and doing lots of exercises, I still cannot seem to figure out how to get my six pack back.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, what's up with that? I'm 40 years old. Is it my age? Is it the exercise that I'm doing? I'm just wondering, what's your philosophy on that? How can I get that back? Is it something that a lot of people are struggling with? I'm looking forward to your professional expertise.
Yeah, it's a few things. It's a few things to kind of touch on, and I guess I'll start first by saying it's probably one of the most common questions that I get, because when it comes down to when you're talking about like physical features, it's an external portrayal. It's how other people look at you. It's something that you can see when you look in the mirror every single day. And to be honest, I'll always start with telling people the first thing is starting from the inside out. I was, some of my story, I think that you've heard it, is actually right after, around that time when I first started my gym, I ended up with blood clots, and I would be unable to train for about 16 months. At that time, I put on about 25 pounds. So you can look, I was shredded, you know what I mean? I was 30 years old, shredded out of my mind, in better shape than when I played professionally, and then I would end up with pulmonary embolism, 2 blood clots on my left side. And I tell people, you can look great on the outside and be a horrible person on the inside, or you can look great on the outside and you can, be horribly sick inside. And I'm a testament to that, to the latter. And when it comes, it's a very primal thing to want what you're describing, and people are going to say at times that they don't want that. And I don't know, can you curse on this show?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
It's bullshit. It's a primal thing for you to want to, I think first it goes deeper to examining why do people even want that? Well, like we said, we already identified that it's an external projection, and it's how other people see you. It's how you find in the wild with animals, it's how they're finding someone to mate. They make themselves look bigger. They make themselves look taller. They make their hair stand up, they huff and they puff. And it's the first pecking order is to find a qualified mate, right? To attract the opposite sex. And I try to tell you that when you start to understand it in that sense, then I think that you can kind of start to break it down to some attainable things to where, okay, is it going to make me feel better when I get to this point? And if so, why? Right? That's the deeper side. The second part of that is, like I said, going into, well, then regardless of that, now that I understand what that is, how do I make that happen? And it always goes to diet first. People will ask me all the time, hey, what exercises can I do to get a six pack, to get my abs? And I'll say there are none. The first thing that you need to do is, it doesn't matter if you do 2,000 sit-ups a day. If you've got a layer of fat because you have 30% body fat, you're never going to be able to see that. So the first thing I would say is evaluating your nutrition, evaluating what you eat day in, day out, evaluate how much water you're drinking, evaluate your level of exercise, evaluate what your sleep habits are. And then all of those start to play a very small part. But at the foundation of that pyramid, it's going to be your nutrition.
Nice. Damn, that's shot. I was hoping you were gonna give me, but I definitely understand. As soon as you said you got to do the, people want to do the 200 sit-ups or whatever. I started following a guy and I started doing his, I think it's like 21 or 22 days ab challenge, and it was rough. But I started like, if you crunch and you try to get away the fat, I'm like, hey, they're hard, but
they're there. That's such a good point. They are there. Of course, in order for you to have more pronounced abdominals and, obliques, it's a lot of different facets to it, but, you have to have the muscular development. If you don't, you'll just be a person with not a lot of fat, and you won't really have any, you won't look like you have any muscle. But like I said, the foundation of that is, okay, well, let me reduce the fat that's on my body. And I actually have a webinar on this, but it really just takes I tell people normally, 15 or 20 minutes a day, but doing like interval work is the biggest thing. If you do, what's called Tabata, like 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, you do that for about a total of 10 minutes. If you can, 20 minutes, and you can get plenty of rest. And at the same time, your intensity is so high that you'll actually, in one of those 4-minute segments, burn more fat than you would in 20 or 30 minutes of steady state cardio. So, and then obviously cleaning up your nutrition with that.
Exactly.